A very good evening and welcome to our special phone-in edition of Business Wrap on the eve of Holi. I am Rangabasham and joining me from our Mumbai studio is the Chief Executive Officer of ChartPundit.com, Hemant Kapadia, to answer all your questions, queries and doubts related to the stock markets. Our phone numbers, as always, 26497553 and 26497781. And if you're calling from outside Delhi, please prefix the STD code for the capital, that's 011. So keep those phones ringing, and we would also like to tell all our viewers that the opinion expressed by our experts is entirely their own and does not necessarily reflect the views of Doordarshan News. And one more small request, please turn down the volume of your television sets when you ask questions to our experts, so that we don't get a feedback and that interferes with the proper listening. So without wasting any more time, let's take our very first caller this evening. We have Mahinder Singh from Bhiwani. Good evening, Mahinder, and welcome to the program. What's your question? Hello? Mahinder, do we have you online? Anyways, let's move on and take our next caller. We have Rao from Hyderabad. Good evening, Mr. Rao.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah, this question for Mr. Hemant Kapadia.
Yes.
Sir, like earlier you recommended Sujana Universal. So I have purchased it at the rate of 23 rupees 50 paisa.
Okay.
Just whether I have to hold on.
Want to know?
One more question. Just please suggest small caps, 2-3 small caps, 2-3 mid caps scripts.
Okay, fine. A very good evening, Hemant, and welcome to the program. Nice to have you on the show time and again, and very happy Holi to you before we begin the program. As this first viewer of ours wants to know about Sujana Universal, he says whether to hold or to buy more, and he also wants some specific recommendations as far as mid cap and some small cap companies are concerned.
Yes, Ranga, very good evening. A very good evening to you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show, and an equally happy Holi to you. Yes, now Sujana Universal I recommended some time back. Now most of the mid caps and the small caps, the companies are doing well, the results are good, the price earning ratios are low, but they still don't seem to be responding. And now since the market has slipped into a correction, I think one would need to be careful, and you have to take a long term view. A short term view is not going to work. We are off nearly 2,000 points from the highs in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks probably. So I don't mind recommending mid caps, but it's going to be a long haul, and if the mainline stocks get shaky, it would be difficult to actually come to a point where the mid caps will move and the main lines might sort of falter and sort of consolidate a bit. Having said that, Sujana Universal, you'll have to hold. The company is doing well, that is not a problem. The results have been good, but somehow the stock price doesn't seem to be responding. So I think you probably have to hold on at least for a year or till we see a clear, I'm not talking about clarity, but momentum coming in the mid cap stocks. Few other stocks, once again, they could slip further. There's something called Universal Cables, that company is doing well. There is another stock called Southeast Asia Marines that is looking well, that is looking good. And I think Tata Teleservices Maharashtra, it had been a bugbear, it had not performed well. I think that stock seems to be turning, so I think I would probably keep an eye on that.
Okay, fine. Let's take our next caller, a very loyal and regular caller, Dr. Bhambani from Nagpur. A very good evening, doctor. Hello.
Colorful Holi to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and same to you and your family.
Thank you very much to Hemant also.
Yes, Dr. Bhambani, what's it that you'd like to know?
Budget fever is over.
True.
But the fever of market is not over. So
Okay.
What is the future in coming weeks? Do you expect more fall, and what sector should I actually, I want to buy something?
Exactly.
Lower level. So
Yeah, Hemant, as Dr. Bhambani is saying, is true. If we see in the last 1.5 2 months, the markets have corrected by almost 2,000 points from 15,000 levels, close to 15,000 levels, now below the 13,000 mark. When can we expect the markets to warm up again and reach these levels of, say, 15,000 or maybe beyond?
I think firstly it's a difficult question looking at the situation of our market, and I think it's a long haul. Having said that, you're right, we're off 1923 points or so in a matter of just 4 weeks flat. I think the market peaked on 9th of February or something. If you're talking about how much downside, we'll have to go slightly technical, because fundamentally things haven't changed much. CRR rise, fine, inflation is not such a big issue as being made of. So I think fundamentals don't seem to have changed that drastically. Yes, interest rates and all would take a toll, but not that badly. 12,800 is a technically important support level. We bounced earlier from that level. We've taken support on the budget day also. Now looking at the momentum, I think the Dow Jones is down 120 points yesterday. The Nasdaq is down 34 points. The world markets still seem to be stumbling. So having said that, if 12,800 breaks, I think next week this seems like a strong possibility. I think then we could see at least 300 points on the downside, where the 200-day moving average comes in at around 13,550 or so. So we are looking at 3 to 400, maybe even a 500 point downside from here if it closes below 12,800. If you're talking about stability, we'll have to wait and see. Right now the trend has turned down. There's a very strong downward momentum. We'll have to see where it stabilizes, moves sideways and then turns up. I think anything between 12,200 to 300 could be a point where we can expect the support to come in. If you're talking about 15,000 in the near term, it's a big haul, because right now what we will see, 2,000 to 2,300 points, whatever we see on the downside, we'll see probably a 40 to 50% correction of that fall. In the sense, we will retrace that fall. It's a recovery, not a rally. I think the trigger that could provide a different or a change or something, I think, could be the quarter results. I think in April we could probably see the market galvanize a bit from that point of view. Having said that, if it's fallen to 2,000 points, we can expect a recovery to come in, but a sustainable recovery, I think we'll have to wait for the quarter results to give us a pointer towards that.
Okay, fine. Let's move on and take our next caller. We have Pawan Jain from Delhi. Good evening, Pawan.
गुड इवनिंग रंगा।
Yeah, welcome to the program. And what's it that you'd like to know?
हाँ जी, आपको भी होली की मुबारकबाद और हेमंत जी को भी बहुत बहुत बधाई।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपको भी होली मुबारक हो।
हाँ जी, और मैं ये पूछना चाहता था कि नेक्स्ट वीक मार्केट कैसी रहेगी और बजट मार्केट के लिए कैसा आया है?
जी जी, उसी बारे में अभी बात कर रहे थे, जो हमारे पिछले कॉलर भी थे उसी बारे में बात कर रहे थे। लगभग 2000 पॉइंट्स का करेक्शन आ चुका है पिछले 1-1.5 महीने में, और इसी बारे में हम बात कर रहे थे। अब क्योंकि आपने फिर से इस बात को छेड़ा है, तो संक्षिप्त में हेमंत बताइए कि अगले हफ्ते क्या सोचते हैं आप कि कैसा मार्केट रहेगा?
यस रंगा, मेरे हिसाब से मार्केट दबाव में ही रहेगा। नियर टर्म तो डाउन साइड वीकनेस अभी भी है। कब तक ये चलेगा बताना काफ़ी मुश्किल है, और पहले फ़ोन पे थोड़े लेवल से बता दिए हैं। और अगर बजट की बात करें तो मार्केट सो है, इंसिपिड बजट जिसको कहते हैं। एनीवे काफ़ी प्रेशर था एफएम पे, इन्फ्लेशन और काफ़ी कुछ चीज़ें थी, तो उनको मैनेज करना था। एक बड़ी पॉजिटिव बजट की है कि जो फिस्कल डेफिसिट है और जो रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट है वो 1.5 और 3.3, I think that is a phenomenal thing. I think it reiterates that India is looking good for the long term, and GDP growth is estimated at 9%. I think that is fantastic. Looking at the negatives, I think dividend distribution tax, ESOPs under FBT,
okay,
and I think not a reduction of corporate surcharge on income tax, and 1% increase in education cess. These are the negatives, and even the dividend, the facility that institutions can go short, and the lending borrowing mechanism will be in place. I think that is also positive.
Okay, fine. Let's move on and take our next caller. We have Mubin Khan from Indore. Good evening, Mubin, and welcome to the show.
गुड इवनिंग सर।
Yeah, please go ahead. Ask your question.
सर मैं पूछना चाह रहा था कि अल्फा आइका है मेरे पास।
Okay.
अल्फा आइका और वीडियोकॉन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, इनका भविष्य क्या है सर? और ये अलॉटमेंट था मेरे पास।
Okay, fine. Alpha and Videocon. Let's start off with Alpha.
Alpha Aika.
Yeah, Hemant, what do you think? How bright are the prospects for this company?
Paranga, I think I heard the name of for the first time. So obviously 5,000 listed companies, you can't even track 10% or even 5% of those. Having said that, if one was to look at the charts, it's jumped from 8 to 25. From 25, it's back to 19. I think there's support at the 18 level. If that breaks, we can expect some downside. And only from a technical point of view, if you're looking at an upside, we will need a closing about 25.50. But the technical situation in the near term, I wouldn't say, but medium term, it seems to be in an intermediate uptrend.
Okay, fine.
And
talking about
talked about was Videocon Industries, I believe.
Yeah, true.
I think you can hold on. The outlook remains positive, and yes, the prospects are bright. But don't expect immediate returns. As I've said, market's gone into a correction. Mid caps were anyway not performing. So this could be a long haul, but fundamentally very strong company.
Okay, how about if we are talking about Videocon, if we talk about Merck Electronics, that's makers of Onida and other consumer durable companies, how do you rate them? I
think Videocon is now a global player, whether it's the Thomson takeover or the the increase in R&D. They've launched LCD TVs much better, much faster, and at much reasonable levels than most of its competitors. So having said that, I mean, in today's world, you need a global footprint. I think the Tata Chorus deal, the Hindalco Novelis deal, I think that seems to point that we need economies of scale. From that point of view, I think Videocon is getting to be undisputed as the advertised Indian multinational. So I think I would plumb for Videocon vis-a-vis Merck Electronics, I would say.
Okay, fine. Let's move on and take our next caller. We have KP Sharma from Kolkata. Good evening, Mr. Sharma. Hello.
Sir.
Yeah. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Sir. Good evening, sir. Happy Holi to DD News 2 and Kapadia, sir.
Thank you so much, and same to you. Please ask your question.
Sir, what is the future of Unitech and sugar sector and RCOM?
Okay, Unitech, entire sugar sector, and Reliance Communications. Let's start off with Realty. Realty, in fact, have started biting these days, and in the last two trading sessions we have seen the entire Realty pack has went down massively, including Unitech, Parshvnath and Shobha Developers and others. So what's the outlook like, Hemant?
Despite these sky-high valuations, I think Unitech fundamentally remains a very strong company. The results have been a revelation. Their SEZ entry, I mean, the outlook remains positive. And if you're talking about the realty sector, I think the companies had run up slightly ahead of the fundamentals, in the sense realty prices had gone up, but the company prices, the stock prices had multiplied, I think probably 8 to 10 times, if and maybe more. So having said that, we needed a catch-up. And the RBI and the government has time and again specified that they don't want a bubble build-up in realty that would hurt much later. They want to cool down growth on the sector in terms of prices. As of now, we have seen some budgetary proposals about increase in tax on rentals on commercial properties. So things like those are anyway sentimentally have taken the wind out of the sector. So if you're a long-term player, I think Unitech is a hold. I'm not saying it's a fresh buy. It's already fallen quite a lot, but it is a hold and not a near-term hold. I'll go for the easier one next. I think RCOM, I think great story. There was a temporary lull because they lost out on Vodafone, but if they bought Vodafone, it would have still gone down anyways. Having said that, looking at the valuation and performance of Bharti, I think there's no way RCOM is going to lag behind. It's a strong story, it's a hold, and if the market panics further, I think it's a buy. Sugar sector, I think the next couple of quarters could still hurt and pinch, in the sense couple of companies have reported losses, so a turnaround could be maybe two quarters away. So if you're a contrarian player, maybe it looks good, it's oversold, maybe there could be a relief rally coming in. But if you're an investor, I think if you can wait just a wee bit more and see some black coming back on the balance sheets, then I think it would be a safe idea.
Okay, but Hemant, if you notice, just yesterday there was a proposal to have a massive buffer stock of sugar from the government side. So if that happens, do you think sugar companies stand to benefit a lot?
Yes, probably, but measures like these would take some time to trickle in, because firstly the sentiment has gone for a toss. Internationally prices have fallen even here. So something like this, like the removal of the export ban on sugar came in too little too late. So measures like this, yes, they would shore up sentiment, they would finally make a little bit of difference, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to warrant a dramatic change in the fundamentals of the sugar sector overnight. Yes, over a period of time, maybe three quarters, maybe a year down the line, yes, I think we see some stability coming in, some clarity in terms of earning growth, demand supply vis-a-vis, then probably we can take a call.
Okay, fine. Let's move on and take our next caller from the northeast, that's Guwahati. We have Balraj. Good evening, Balraj, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, sir. I want to know about Akash Optics, Matrix Lab and Silverline Industries.
Matrix
Matrix Laboratory.
Okay.
Akash Optical Fiber.
Okay.
And Silverline Industries.
Yeah, Silverline. Let's start off with Akash, Hemant. What's the prospect like?
I think he's talking about Aksh Optifibers. Once again, not well followed. I mean, I'm not quite aware of what's happening in the company. I believe it's in the fiber optic cable. Internationally, prices seem to be on the upswing, but currently the market leader Sterlite Optical has come under some pressure. And to add fuel to the fire, this is a mid-cap stock. So once again, fundamentals, I'm out of touch. But looking at the whole industry scenario, probably the outlook should be better. Obviously, there's demand increasing for internet day and night. technically speaking, we probably need a closing above 64 to see an upside. Near term, there's support first at 45 and then at 40. So the downside seems limited to the level of 40 as of now, but nothing extraordinary on the charts. The other company we spoke about was Silverline. We've spoken about this earlier. It was probably one of my recommendations long time back. It did well, has come off a bit, has come off quite a bit. Now fundamentally, there are positives, but like I said, the history, the track record has not been exactly impressive. So that bugbear is there. So if you're a high risk, high reward sort of an aggressive investor, I think you can hold on. If you're making money, exit. I think you can always switch to quality, and the market's coming under pressure. You'll have blue chips like Infosys and TCS quoting at more realistic valuation. So I would suggest something of that sort.
Okay, fine. Time for a quick break now, but keep watching our special phone-in edition for more questions and enlightening answers. Welcome back. You're watching our special phone-in edition of Business Wrap on DD News, and this is the only program on Doordarshan where we address your company-specific and stock-specific queries. And as always, even this evening, we have the Chief Executive Officer of ChartPundit.com, Hemant Kapadia, to answer all your queries, your doubts related to the market, whether to buy, whether to hold, or to sell. Let's move on and take our next caller. We have Mayank from Delhi. Good evening, Mayank. And what's it that you'd like to know?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
My question is that, sir, I have Gwalior Chemical. I have purchased since IPO
Okay.
at a rate of 80. And one more, Andhra Bank,
Okay.
the IPO at a rate of 90.
Okay, fine.
Both the stocks are going towards below than the issue price. Please give me the rightful choice.
Okay, fine. Sure. Hemant, as far as PSU banks are concerned, it's always been the same story, except for probably, State Bank and State Bank Group, other banks, associated banks. As far as other PSU banks are concerned, like he said, Andhra Bank, or whether you talk of Allahabad Bank, Syndicate Bank, all these banks, we don't see much of a activity there. What would you say?
Absolutely, Ranga. You had value realized by the market and these banks. I think a lot more to do with some of these banks having a high level of NPAs, but in fact Andhra Bank is one of the stronger banks. I think it's fundamentally quite strong, but like you said, this doesn't seem to reflect on the stock performance on the bourses, so difficult to take a call. Obviously nobody likes to see their investments depreciate, but Andhra Bank, I would say, is a very good bank. So a hold at the risk of sounding silly, but then this would come down to slightly of a trading mentality where you'd probably sell this, buy it back at lower levels, or once again, despite what has happened, despite depreciation in State Bank of India, I think I would advocate a shift from Andhra Bank to State Bank, slightly reluctantly, because Andhra Bank itself is doing well. I think in the budget, the ownership seems to have passed to the government. I think the next step on the anvil would be the merging of all the state banks with State Bank of India. I think it's going to create a behemoth. I think we're going to compete globally. I think that should be the beacon light for the banking sector in India. I think the number of branches and ATMs will probably be, I don't know, maybe 10 times more than the private sector banks put together. So that seems to be the safer and the easier option. But Andhra Bank on its own is probably not a sell. It's a solid bank.
Okay, fine. Let's take our next caller again, a very loyal and regular caller. We have Amjad from Kota. Good evening, Amjad. Namaskar. आपका स्वागत है कार्यक्रम में.
Good evening, sir, and happy Holi, all of you.
Thank you. Same to you.
Sir, I want to ask the first question for the KN Energy.
Okay, fine.
It's IPO. Mr. Kapadia has told after the listing that it was highly priced. Why time comments before the IPO? And one other thing, after 5 years or 10 years, can we compare ONGC and KN Energy, that two comes to right one level? And my second question is, there is a very scam in the copper Nissan, and people have lost crore of money.
Okay.
It was rise to 300 times in a day, and Swiss volume was too much. I want to his comments on this, and what should SEBI should take that a real poor investor should not lost his belief on the stock market.
Okay, investors are never poor. They might be small or retail investors anyway.
No, there are poor investors also.
Okay, fine. Let's move on. Let's take your first question. You spoke about Cairn Energy. That's true. We recently had an IPO. As far as valuations of this particular company is concerned, vis-a-vis, as you said, others biggies like ONGC or Reliance Industries, how would you rate it, Cairn Energy?
I think somebody did ask about Cairn Energy and I had equated to Reliance Petroleum before that. Per se, I don't follow new issues much. I think time and again I would have probably declined to comment on new issues because I don't follow new issues. Having said that, you look at the oil sector, you look at the amount of investments, you look at the time to fructify, you look at the drilling. Only when you strike oil or you see something fundamentally changing would you see this reflect in the stock price. It's a slow sector. It takes time. So having said that, Cairn, I mean, you look at ONGC, you look at RPL, you look at Cairn. Over the long term, yes, these companies would offer value. I think the gas discoveries in the KG basin, we've seen oil being discovered. If you look at this for long term, this would be paying, but near term, the size of the company, look at the equity, the prospects, and especially after seeing how RPL has performed in the bosses, obviously excited. In terms of the second question, he probably spoke about Nissan Copper. Once again, I think there's a regulatory issue. Probably I have no right to even comment on something like this. I think the ball is with SEBI and it's obviously the best judge. So if he's talking about promoters and their background, I think if I'm going to tell you something, this is my analysis. Despite best efforts, this is a huge market. It's not possible that you're going to go right every time. So the investor himself or herself has to do due diligence, has to do R&D, see a little bit about the antecedents of the promoters, some backgrounds. Easy. I mean, investment not an easy task that you listen to one guy on TV and you make money. No, you have to go in deep. What he does is obviously not our business. And there is also a proposal in the making where IPOs are going to be graded. Whether it's controversial, whether it's right or whether it's wrong, once again I that. But that could help the investors separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak.
Okay, very good, Hemant. In fact, that's we have been telling our viewers time and again that whatever the experts say, it's entirely their own opinion, and you have to do a due diligence, as he said, and you can't blame the expert or the channel or anyone else for a bad investment decision. Anyway, let's move on and take our next call. We have Sharad Patnaik from Andhra Pradesh. Good evening, Mr. Patnaik, and what's your question?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead. Ask your question.
Actually, having recommended again and again, I have taken Gujarat Ambuja and Ranbaxy.
Okay.
Ranbaxy at 400 level and Gujarat Ambuja at 140 level.
Okay.
So what is it prospectus? Can I hope the recovery and what is it to target?
Okay, fine. Hemant, let's talk about the first company which he spoke about, Gujarat Ambuja. Especially after the budget, the entire cement company's pack is wondering what hit them with that differential excise structure with the cutoff at 190 rupees MRP. Can we see a good recovery in the next 2-3 months? And also, just 2 days back, the finance minister requested the entire industry, the cement companies, not to raise prices, and within half an hour of the this request made by the finance minister, all the cement companies increased the prices massively.
Yes, Ranga, obviously the finance minister means best for the country and the economy, but firstly I think this is a democracy. So if you're putting price control in any form, industry will not take it lightly or it is not appreciated. Yes, despite the efforts and despite the concern, yes, the FM had a very valid and genuine concern, but I think it has been counterproductive. If this hadn't been done, probably the 20 rupees rise per bag wouldn't have happened. So I think once again there's a shortage of demand in the country. You have huge infrastructure investments coming in, and I think for the next 1.5 to 2 years there's going to be no new capacities being added. So this is a problem, and once again I think it's more to do with the how the government tackles this problem and how the cement manufacturers do. But yes, that immediately raises, this is going to impact construction costs, and finally it's going to be passed on to the consumer. So I'm not really sure how this is going to work out. Having said that, if such policy decisions are taken, and you're right, 2-3 months down the line, I think we should see value being realized, and obviously these are great long-term investments. Now, having said that, if there is such a proposal or there is such a regulation coming in, your analysis based on whatever you are doing has gone completely out of the window. So how long is it going to take? Is this going to smooth out? there's a big question mark. So till then, I'm not sure how this is going to pan out. But yes, if you look at the company, look at the quality of the management, which is obviously going to be finally taken over by Holcim. I mean, it's phenomenal. The outlook is positive. There's visibility in earnings. You have a huge demand. So on face of it, there's nothing wrong. But something like this is going to derail it for some time. So once again, I've said earlier, if you're investing at 13, 14, or 15,000, you have to have a two-year. In fact, last time I was there, I said you have to have a 3-year horizon, because the markets were looking overbought and fine.
Okay, fine, Hemant. Let's take
Ranbaxy, I think.
Yeah, we are running out of time. Let's take our next caller. We have Praveen Kumar from Kolkata. Good evening, Praveen, and ask your question quick. Hello, Praveen, do we have you online?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Please, quick, ask your question.
I want to know about BF Utilities, sir.
Okay, fine. Hemant, very quickly.
Bharat Forge group company, great story, great fundamentals. It's collapsed from the high. It's a hold, but it's not a fresh buy.
And very quickly, let's take our next caller. Just one more call. That's our last caller, Rajesh from Ranchi. Good evening, Rajesh, and shoot your question quick.
हाँ, मेरा क्वेश्चन है
जी
कि गेमन इंडिया मेरे पास है
ओके
और एक लाइन आकृति।
ओके फाइन। हमारे पास वक्त बहुत कम है, सिर्फ इस एक कंपनी की चर्चा कर पाएंगे। गैमन इंडिया इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेक्टर का एक मेजर कंपनी है। हेमंत, क्या समझते हैं आप, कितना अच्छा प्रोस्पेक्ट है?
Company is good. There's some regulatory problem. Promoters have been banned from trading for a year or something. That has sort of spoiled the picture, but long-term story is fine. Near-term pressure, medium-term can be expected.
Okay, that's it for now. Hemant, thank you so much for joining us with your views from our Mumbai studio. And we'd also like to remind all of viewers that our special phone-in programs would be back on Sunday as well. That's tomorrow. So do continue to call us on our Delhi phone numbers. That's 2649 7553 and 2097781 to speak to our experts between 7:30 and 8 p.m. And if you're calling from outside Delhi, please prefix the STD code, which is 011. And if you want to put in any suggestions or queries for our business team, please mail us to biznews@dd.nic.in, and also log on to our website. That's www.ddinews.gov.in for all the latest news and updates. Time to wind up from the entire team of Business Wrap. Thank you so much for joining us. Wish you all a very happy Holi and meet you on Monday when the stock markets open. But before that, tomorrow also we have this phone-in session. Wish you all a very happy Holi.